Hi guys, I'm Mike,
And I'm Mark.
and this is F1 Fanatics. Welcome back to another episode of the Feeder series. We've obviously been away for a couple of weeks, and with obviously the Corona break going on, we're back with a special episode today and with a special collaboration. In a minute, I'm going to hand you over to Mark to explain what's going on today. But first of all, I'm going to bring you on to our guest, Alex. So, Alex, welcome to the Feeder series show.
Hello everyone. Thank you for having me on. As said, I'm Alex. I am from Germany, but originally born from in Russia, but I live in Germany. And I've recently started doing YouTube videos on my channel AS19. So thank you, Mike and Mark, for having me on.
Yeah,
Not a
guys,
problem.
if you haven't checked out Alex already, definitely go out and check out his channel with his videos on there. Some very good videos. Obviously, his first one was about Igor Fraga, and there was a good one which was a kind of almost prequel to this that we saw it's a good idea, which Mark is now going to explain what we're going to do today.
Okay, today on the Feeder series, each one of us are taking 3 of our favourite drivers from the 2020 Formula 3 grid, and we're going to try and predict where they're going to end up in their future. Whether it be WEC, GT, F1, Formula E. So let's get started. I'll hand it over to our guest first. Alex, who was your first driver?
My first driver is one that you have already mentioned. It's the Brazilian Igor Fraga. He's recently been picked up by the Red Bull Driver Academy, and my guess would be that he would be in Super Formula. He's got the Japanese links through him being born in Japan and him speaking Japanese, and secondly, that he is a member of the Red Bull Young Driver Program, and Red Bull's engine supply is Honda, who are obviously based in Japan. And Igor Fraga, if he continues developing at the rate he has been for the past few years, I mean, this year he won the TRS Championship. Last year came third in the Formula Regional European Championship. I can see him returning back to Japan to race in one of the best single-seater categories in the world in Super Formula.
Thank you very much. Mike, let's see who your first driver is.
So my first driver is, I'm going to get the easy one out the way, and that is going to be Logan Sargent. Now, in his kind of European single-seater career to date, he hasn't really set the world alight. A bit unlucky last year in Formula 3 because the Carlin team really didn't kind of get things going right. But he is in a Premier seat this year, so it really is kind of a chance for him to show what he does. But being an American driver and with that European record not being great to date, I think the easiest option for Logan Sargent is he will move back across to the States and make his career in IndyCar, because there is some talent to him. There is some natural pace to the guy. It will be really interesting to see once, obviously, hopefully the season gets going, what he can do with Prema in Formula 3. But yeah, I think the most likelihood is that Logan Sargent will end up in IndyCar. So Mark, over to you to round off this first round of drivers.
I'll be starting off with Oscar Piastri. He's very good. He had an amazing run in Formula Renault. Although he is in a difficult spot being part of the Renault Academy, arguably one of the best academies around right now if you look at their drivers. But depending on how their F1 contract signings goes, he will either end up in F1 or he will go to Formula E as part of the Nissan team, which is strongly linked to Renault.
Nice.
Very well, then I will continue with my second pick. it is Frederick Vesti. Now, he has been, for me, the most difficult one to place anywhere because there's hardly anything that is known about this guy, but he's not part of any driver academy, and he's in an awkward position where he is not a part of an academy and not or not in the top few drivers who are not in an academy. So I would say maybe Formula E for him, or maybe WEC, because he is good, but not good enough for Formula One. I can see stronger drivers in the F3 grid making it up to F1 instead of him. But he's still good. Has won the Formula Regional European Championship last year, so Formula E would be a logical choice.
I think, yeah, that makes good sense from there. And then moving on to my second pick, which is Liam Lawson. And he is going to be the one who is the highest rated for me. Liam Lawson, during his kind of short single-seater junior career, although it has been going since 2015, but that was mainly kind of when he was regional based in New Zealand. But obviously coming first in the Toyota Racing Series, second in the Euro Formula Open Championship in 2019, and second in the TRS this year. He's actually just a few super license points away from having enough to compete in Formula One. And I just think as he keeps getting better, and he's proven to be pretty consistent at the junior Formula level, with obviously a second in ADAC Formula 4 as well, which is, probably the top Formula 4 championship around. I'm going to back Liam Lawson here, and I'm going to say that we will see Liam Lawson in Formula 1. So, Mark, over to you.
I am going for my arguably favourite junior driver currently in any series, and one who I think is something special and once in a generation, Théo Pourchaire. Absolutely a lightning quick kid, extremely young at only 16. In open wheel single seaters, he is currently undefeated in any championship. Every championship he has entered, he has won. He is a bright star for bright future, and he's going to end up in F1.
I think that is probably a very fair shout on Théo. He certainly is one of the highest rated guys that we think within the Formula 3 Championship this year. So we now move on to your last driver, Alex, and who have you got for us?
Yeah, it is my favourite driver from all the junior Formula categories, however you want to call them. It's Dennis Hauger, who I think will be in F1 instead of Liam Lawson. He has competed in the Italian F4 and ADAC or ADAC F4 last year, and in 2018 he has competed in British F4. In 2018 he came fourth, and then last year he won the Italian F4 championship and came second in German F4, just behind Théo Pourchaire. And if Pourchaire is described as a generational talent, then for Dennis to only be like 7 points behind Théo in the standings, that must be really something very special. And then winning the Italian F4 championship against some good drivers like Roman Stanek, Paul Aron, Gianluca Petikov by a margin, also highly impressive. He's maybe not got the same experience as Lawson, obviously not, but I mean, if he continues to develop and progress, then I could see him driving for AlphaTauri in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and I know Dennis Hauger is especially close to your heart, Alex. He is definitely one of your favourite drivers in the junior series. So there is no doubt there that I thought that you were going to say he's going to make it. You're going to back your boy to make it to Formula One. But my last driver is Richard Verschoor. And I'm sure after this, Mark will make his usual for sure joke because he cannot help himself with his driver punts in the feeder series.
I'm for sure not going to make that joke again.
And there we go.
There we go.
Just set it up for a perfect tee there. But yes, he is a previous SMP F4 champion and F4 Spanish champion. He came third in the TRS in 2017 before coming second in that series in 2018. And his most successful kind of achievement probably is winning the Macau Grand Prix in 2019. A former driver of the Red Bull Academy. Now, for sure, is a talented driver, but I think budget and realistically, he hasn't necessarily set the world alight in the kind of main series. He didn't particularly do well in ADAC or Italian F4 in the championship where he competed there. I think Richard Verschoor is probably going to end up in the lowest position of my drivers, and I'm going to back him still to have a successful career, but in WEC. So, Mark, I will hand it over to you to round things off with your last driver.
Now, my third driver is actually going off our plan because I think I need to actually cover this driver. Arguably the biggest name in F3 right now, David Schumacher.
A big name, indeed.
Indeed, and I have my own thoughts on David Schumacher.
Go on.
Check out the F3 video for that.
If anyone is using the Schumacher name to get into racing, it's not Mick, it's David. He's not very good. I mean, in another video that's either come out or coming out very soon, he finished second in F4 UAE. And not even in the top 5 for F4 ADAC. I don't rate him very highly at all, but I think unfortunately, with a name that big, I think he's actually going to end up in Formula E. For a Formula E team to have the Schumacher name in it would do wonders for them, and it would probably also help the sport.
Absolutely, and I think it's it is an interesting one on David Schumacher. He is young and he might still get better and progress, but I know you very openly made your feelings before, Mark, that
What do you mean he's young? He's 18. I think he's only 2 years younger than Mick, and he
is 2 years younger than Mick, and he is well below where Mick was at this stage.
His best result is second in F4 UAE.
And that video coming out tomorrow, guys, will explain what we think of the UAE Championship, where we will rank the kind of feeder series below F3 in the kind of A, B, C, D category. So make sure you kind of tune in to check out that one. But I think that's all our kind of 3 drivers that we've given. So we do this basically to make Mark happy, because I think we will be all in agreement. Is Mark was like pre-recording, shall we finish off with the driver we think is most likely to end up in F1, knowing the driver that we will probably all end up saying. And so yes,
just let me hear it. Let me hear it one more time, nice and loud, for all the people in the back.
Okay, so for me, the driver who is most likely to end up in Formula One is Théo Pourchaire. Alex?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say it as well. Théo Pourchaire is going to make it up to F1 and do extremely well. So, are you happy, Mark?
Oh, extremely. Almost as happy as I will be when we hear the news that Marco has fired Howler after finishing 1 point behind.
You just see. I mean,
Right, I'm gonna jump in
no,
here.
I
Alex is a guest. He's coming. He's coming onto the channel, Mark. Leave him alone. Don't bully poor Alex. He
Leave
can't
Alex alone.
phone, man. Okay, but no,
uh,
Alex, you've been absolutely fantastic. And guys, I will leave a link to his video in the description below. So make sure you go and check it out. Obviously, the inspiration to this video was Alex's F2 video, where he actually went through the entire grid of Formula 2 and go from there. We thought, you know, as there were kind of three of us, we've still got through, you know, 9 drivers here, and it is at F3 level quite difficult to say where people will end up, because obviously we have limited experience
Unless
and
the
knowledge.
name is Teo Porsche.
Unless the name is Teo Pacher. I mean, he really has hit the ground running and is a really exciting talent to
And
see where he
just
progresses.
back to what you said earlier, Alex, how Dennis Howard only finished a point behind him. You got to remember, that was Teo's second season in an F3 car. And before that, it was only F3 France Junior. I mean, F4 France Junior. F4 France Junior, sorry, misspoke. And yeah, bit of a difference.
Right, I'm going to stop this here before this turns into Pacher versus.
All I'll say is you're
I'm not.
lucky
I'm
that
not
Porsche
trying to.
didn't go to Italy as well.
Well,
Then again, it's.
this is for a discussion for the call afterwards. So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I hope, you know, do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us know in the comments below on where you think the drivers will end up, or if there are kind of other drivers in Formula 3 that you would like, you know, to say where you think they will end up. Make sure you get involved in the comments below. I'm sure, obviously, me and Mark will be looking, and I'm sure Alex will kind of tick in as well. And it'd be great to open a kind of discussion in the comments below with you guys of where you think people will end up. But again, Alex, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great having you on the Feeder Series show, and I hope you've enjoyed doing the video.
Yeah, I can't stress this enough. Thank you for having me on here. It's been very good. And my final words for this: Hauger up to F1. Full stop.
And I'm going to be nice to you, and I'm not going to let Mark jump in, because I know he will probably make some sort of a Dennis Hauger joke. But guys, if you haven't already, please do check out Alex's channel and subscribe to it.
I mean, like I said before, if he beats Lawson, I'll ask myself how he do that.
There
Skill.
we go. Driver pun for Mark for the episode. And so, yeah, guys, go and check out Alex's channel and drop him a subscribe and show him some support, some great Feeder Series content that he is producing on there. And, you know, if you're new here and you enjoy listening to me and Mark talk about the Feeder Series, you can obviously subscribe to this channel as well. Click that bell notification. You can keep up to date with all our latest content. Obviously, yeah, the Feeder Series where me and Mark mainly control, and then obviously all our other F1 content we have on the channel as well. But guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode today. But for now, you F1 fans, keep racing.